This conference will now be recorded.
Say, so this is public. So at the time of creating a classes and methods, we are using the access modifier is called public. See, in Java, we have four types of access modifiers. In Java, we have four types of access modifiers. The access modifier is representing the scope of variable, methods, and classes. The access modifier is giving the information about the scope of variable, methods, and classes. Access modifiers are giving information about the scope of the variable, methods, and classes. We have four types of access modifiers. Four types of access modifiers. One is private, default, protected, the public. So we have four types of access modifiers are available in Java. If you are going to if you are going to use private, the scope is up to someone. If you are using default, the scope is limited to someone. So what is the difference between each and every thing? So this is very, very important for your interview point of view. So what is the difference between each and every one in terms of scope point of view? Within scope, sorry, check. Within class, outside class, within package, outside package. To show the difference between each and every one, I'm just explaining with these four fields. Within class, outside class, within package, and outside package. Right. Now, if I use private, if I use private for the variables or methods or classes, I can access within the class. once you come out of the class, if I want to use it in another class, no, I can't access the private related things except class. So within the class only it is applicable. And if I use the default, I can access within the class, I can access outside the class, I can access within the package. So within the package, if you have a number of classes, if you want to use anything, so you can use it with the default type. Outside package is not allowed. Protect. So within the class, I can use it. Outside the class, I can use it. Within the package, I can use it. And outside package is also, you can use it, but only when you are performing inheritance concept. Wherever you are performing inheritance, at that time only this protected is applicable. Otherwise, default and protected are both are same. So if I use public, I can access anywhere within the package and outside the package. So I can access anywhere in the I can access anywhere. Okay. So this is the difference between each and every access modifier. See, if you are not specifying any access modifier, internally it is taking as default. If you are not specifying anything before variable name or before method name or before class name, so internally it is taking as default. Okay. So in general, for our Selenium point of view, we are going to use most of the time public. The second option, people are going to use it for private for variables. Okay. So we are going to use these two access modifiers in our Selenium automation. Generally, most of the time people are going to use public. If you're not specifying anything, default internally it is taking as default. For the default, you don't have like any keyword. For others, you have private, protected, public. Like that, you have keywords. But the default, you don't have anything. If you're not mentioning anything, internally it is considered as a default. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts, Srividya, Saira?
No.
No.
Just a second, madam. I'm coming back.
This conference will now be recorded.
See, I need not to tell all these things, but anyway, data types. So we have data types. Data types. We have two types of data types. One is primary data type or primitive data type. So the primary data type or primitive data type, these data types are coming along with the Java. Whereas reference data types, whereas the second one is reference data types. So what are all the primary data types? Like byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and then boolean. We have 8 primitive data types are available. The storage capacity of one byte is 1 byte. Internally, it is 8 bits. The short 2 bytes. Int 4 bytes. Long 8 bytes. Float 8 bytes. Sorry, float 4. Double 8 bytes. Char 2 bytes. Boolean 1 bit, either 0 or 1. 0 or 1. So these are all the 8 primitive data types. So whenever you try to create any variable, before that you should tell that what type of variable you are trying to create it. So these are all the 8 primitive data types. So Boolean means it will ask or it will give you either true or false. Normally, to represent these characters, we are going to put it in the single code. We are going to put it like this. Default, sorry, float and double, these two are using it to represent decimal values. In Java, what is the default decimal type is double. If you want to use a float type, let's say if you want to use 21.34, if you did not mention anything, by default internally it is taking as a default. If you want to mention as a float, At the last, you have to use F. F means it's a float type. For integer, there are 4 types: byte, short, integer, long, like this. There are 4 types of integers. So out of 4, which one is internally it is considered as a default one? So this is the default one. This is the default one. Internally it is considered as default. So these are all the 8 primitive data types which we are getting along with Java. Right. The second category is reference data types. So these reference data types are you are going to create as a programmer. You are going to create these reference data types. So under reference data types, what are all the things are coming? Like arrays, classes, strings, enums, etc. So all these coming under reference type. Normally, while working with reference types, you are going to use new keyword. You are going to use new keyword. See, in, if you take like C, C++, string is a data type, but whereas in C++, it is treated as a class. String is a class. In Java, string is treated as a class. So, right. Typecasting. What is meant by typecasting? Converting one data type to another data type is called typecasting. Converting one data type to another data type is called typecasting. Now see, we have 2 types of typecasting: implicit typecasting. The second one is explicit typecasting. We have implicit typecasting, and the second one is explicit typecasting. Okay, you know that data types means internally A is equal to 10, float A is equal to 23.5 F. So you should add F as at the end. Double char E is equal to X. So always characters are represented with single quote like this. Boolean means either true or false. If it is a string, you are going to put it in the double quotes. If it is a string, you are going to put it in the double quotes. Okay. Let's say if I want to convert one type to another type, let's say if I want to convert one type to another type. Now see, let me draw the diagram. This is short. Integer. Before that, there is a byte. Right. So here we are using long. It's a float. Double. Now here it is caret. It is caret. Now see, this byte is occupying 1 byte, short is occupying 2 bytes, integer occupying 4 bytes, long 8 bytes, float 4 bytes. But since it is pointing to the decimal, so that's why it is occupying, float is taking high priority. So double is 8 bytes. Now see here, character is 2 bytes. So you can convert this character to, whenever you try to convert this byte to the next level, implicitly it is going to convert. Implicitly it is going to convert. Implicitly it is going to convert. So automatically the JVM, the Java compiler, it will take care. So whenever you want to convert from high data type to lower data type, so you need to do explicit typecasting. You need to do explicit typecasting. So how will you do that? Okay. Let's say you are using character. I want to use this character to integer type. So what you are going to do is int some p is equal to e. E is what? It's a character type. So you are trying to convert this e to integer type. So according to this diagram, this character is going to convert it into the integer internally. You can convert. So now if you go and print the p value, so whatever the value of x internally, that value it is going to print, because you converted this character to integer. So internally, for this x there is a value. Internally for this x there is a value. That value it is going to print. That value it is going to print. Now see, the x value is 120. Let's say int x is equal to 10, 25. So I want to convert into double type. Double d is equal to double y is equal to x. Why? Because integer here double. So you are trying to convert this integer to double, means internally it takes care of that. It is printing y value, known as Java application. So double is pointing to the decimal, right? So that's why it is printing as 25.0. Okay. Let's say I want to convert higher data type to lower data type. So let me use the same. Double x is equal to 25.325. Sorry, we should not put it in the double quotes. If you're putting in the double quotes, it is treated as a string. Now I want to convert this double to integer type. So which one you are trying to convert? X, because X is double type. So you want to convert it into another data type. So that is integer. So whatever the data type you want to convert, that you need to put it in the brackets. Right. So here, let's say you are trying to convert into integer, so you will get integer only. So let's say stored in the variable called y. Now see, because of this typecasting, the data may lose, because you are trying to convert it into integer, right? So integer means it is not allowed decimal values. So it will print only 25. It will not print a dot 325 and all. So because of this conversion, what will happen? The data may lose. Right click, run as Java application. So it is printing only 25. So higher data type to lower data type, definitely data loss will be happened. So this is about typecasting, implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting. Yeah. Any doubts? Srividya, Saira?
No doubts.
Srividya, are you there? Srividya?
Yeah, yeah. I'm here. I'm here. No doubts. No doubts. I was on mute.
Right. Right. See, types of variables. Types of variables. See, in Java, we have three types of variables. One is local variable. The second one is class variables, class level variables, or some of the guys they call it as global variables. See, actually, as per Java, there is no term called global variable, but people will use the term called global variable. In C++, you have concepts called local variable and global variable. So here, the class level variables, people are also call it as global level variable. The third one, static variables. Static variables. So what is this local variable? The local variables you are going to declare and define inside the method or inside the blocks. So once you come out of those blocks or methods, the scope of local variables is gone. The scope of local variables is gone. whatever the variables you are trying to create inside the block or inside the methods. So these variables are called local variables. That means the scope of those variables is up to that block or up to that method only. So once you come out of that, it will not be valid. It will not be valid. So class level variable or global level variable. So these variables are going to define under class. These variables you are going to define under class and outside all the methods. So such type of variables are called class level variables. So the scope of this class level variables is up to the class level. So that means inside the class, whatever the methods you are trying to create it, so you can access these variables in all the methods. In all the methods. So under class level variables also, again, we have instance variables, and then static variables. See, instance means by creating an object of the class, you are going to access it. By creating an object, we are going to access these variables called instance variables. So how will you access the instance variables? Is using object reference variable. Object reference variable. So that means we should create object for the class. What about like static variables? Static variables are going to access it by using class name. Using class name, we can access. So if you are creating without static, so such type of variables are called instance variables. If you are using with the static, that is static variables. So normally to access this the static variables, we are going to use class name. Even if you access with the object reference variable, it will work. Even if you access with object reference variable, it will work. Right. So there are certain rules while accessing with instance and static. So static variables. and instance thing. So static variables are static methods, and instance variables and instance methods. Instance methods. So when you are trying to access these static variables and methods, so you should follow certain rules and guidelines. See, whenever you try to access non-static type in the static, if you want to access non-static type into static type, you should take care two things. If you want to access non-static type into static type, change the variable name or method of whatever it is non-static, change the variable or method non-static to static, because you cannot access directly in the static type. You cannot access non-static type into static. So what you can do, change that whatever you are using, either variable or method name, to static type. Or the second approach is create object of the class, and using object reference variable you can access it. You can access it. Generally, what people are going to follow is the second case. See, if you want to access non-static type to static type, directly you cannot access it. You will get static type. So static type, in the static type you cannot access like stat and non-static. Like that you will get the compilation issue. But if you take like object creation, so with the object creation you can access it, those variables and methods. So this is the one case. So directly you can't access it. Then what if static things, if you want to access it in the non-static, static type into non-static, if you want to access it, yes, directly access it. Directly access it. In the one particular class, a particular class of variable or a method of type static type, so you can call that variable or you can use that method anywhere in the class directly. So no need to use anything. Or if you call with object reference, if you call with object reference, so you can access it. So normally, I told you, the static things you are going to access it with the class name. Suppose in case if you are trying to call with object reference variable, so no issues, it will work. It will not give any compilation issues. It will not give any compilation issue. Okay, so these are all the very basic things. See, that's why static level means it's a class level, whereas non-static means it's instance level. Instance level means it's object level. If you want to access non-static type into static type, so you should create an object of the class, and using that object reference variable you can access them. But if you want to access static type into non-static, directly you can access, or you can call with the object reference. Not a problem. Okay, so these are all the fundamentals of static and non-static. Yeah, any doubts?
No.
No doubts.
Okay, so along with your Selenium sessions, I'll cover the Java concepts also, which are all required for your Java point of view.
Okay.
Okay, right. So in the next session, we will discuss it about. So today, only two members, you and Saira. So, so that's why I did not